short-term deal, but The Athletic reports, quote, the Browns could have concerns about entering into an expensive long-term extension with Mayfield, but picking up the fifth-year option looks like a formality. So, Acho, is picking up Baker's fifth-year option a no-brainer for the Browns?
Absolutely, Sel. Baker Mayfield has earned that right. I've told you this time and time again, but let me remind you all who haven't been privy to this dialogue or conversation. All I'm saying is when we watched the show prior. Let me remind y'all, the only reason we would even doubt if Baker Mayfield is worth this money is if we say this. Man, well, Baker's inconsistent. Remember, his first couple years, he struggled, Acho. Like, he ain't really shown us he that dude like that. Like, he ain't really shown us he a dog, Acho. Come on now. Can't pay him too quickly. But I would remind you all that Baker Mayfield shows up to the Cleveland Browns. And his first year there, the head coach for the Cleveland Browns was 1-31 in his prior 32 games. So what we know is that when it comes to NFL competency in winning games, Baker Mayfield didn't have a coach that could do that.
Oh, my God.
The next coach for Baker Mayfield was a man whom this year made a call so egregious that we questioned if he was throwing the game. He made a call so egregious that he got fired in the middle of the season as a coordinator. That's Baker Mayfield's next coach. Baker Mayfield's next head coach was a man who had no prior head coaching experience and who only had half a season his offensive coordinating experience. So if we are getting this right, in conclusion, Baker Mayfield's first three coaches, his first 2 years in the National Football League, a coach who was 1-31, a coach who was so bad that he got fired midseason and people questioned whether or not he was throwing the game, and a coach who had never coached before. But enter this past season, Baker Mayfield's third season, where he has a competent head coach, and he is one of 5 quarterbacks to throw 30-plus passing touchdowns with fewer than 10 interceptions. Y'all can look at the list as I say it. Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, Deshaun Watson. That is including postseason. So Baker Mayfield is in the likes of these names when it comes to passing touchdowns with minimal interceptions. Based upon all that context, Sel, you should have no questions. It should be a no-brainer about paying Baker Mayfield. The only reason Baker Mayfield didn't succeed prior wasn't because of Baker Mayfield, but because of who Baker Mayfield was attached to.
Oh, man, calm down now. Okay, look, pick up his fifth-year option. Yes, I know. The lights went out when I said it because I said something nice about Baker Mayfield. Y'all see him flashing in here? Baker, I do like you.
Pick up his fifth-year option.
I know America's like, what? Look, I am a hater, but I ain't stupid. Like, look, I know when something's cheap, grab it. Like, what'd you say last week about Cam Newton at the discount rack?
Yeah.
Well, look beyond that rack. What's the rack over there? Just 0.99 cents. Baker Mayfield for $18 million? Come here, Baker. I love you at that cost. But remember, you get what you pay for right here. Oh, man, it's a no-brainer. He's just too damn cheap. Like, and it buys you runway to figure out who Baker Mayfield really is. Because you said there's only one reason not to buy into him fully. He's inconsistent, correct?
Yes, sir.
But there's another reason I would like to suggest. Maybe he's just not that good. We'll figure that out, and Baker Mayfield will do the talking for us. I look at this situation simply. Don't conflate him, Acho, because I think you tried to do that. Pick the fifth-year option up, but that long-term extension, it's on you, Baker. You only gonna eat what you kill. And I tell you so far, he hasn't killed that much. Are you paying long-term for a guy who has a 23-22 record? I don't give a damn how and what. That's just barely above water, barely above average, as you like to say. You know, 500 right here, Baker Mayfield knows is above the water. I'm good, I'm swimming, mama, I can swim. No, you can't. 61 completion percentage, stop, boy. 89 ratings right here. He's right under there, under the Mendoza lines, I like to say. Worst completion percentage than Jay Cutler, remember him? Kyle Allen, remember him? Oh, fewer passing yards than Blake Bortles. Yup. Nick Mullins, what the hell are we talking about? Lower passer rating than the mullet model himself and part-time quarterback Gardner Minshew. How are you going to be worse than Gardner Minshew? Didn't he get benched? You told me he did. Yes, he did. So it's not just inconsistency. Some of these are real big, glaring question marks. Fifth-year option, obviously. Too damn cheap. After that, Baker Mayfield. It's on you, big dog. Got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. So, Bucky, is picking up Baker's fifth-year option a no-brainer for the Browns?
It's a no-brainer to pick up the option, but we don't want to give him the extension. He has to earn it. We need to make sure that he proves it each and every year. And I saw Acho roll your eyes, but I'm going to do this because we're going to use the Dak Prescott situation as a blueprint for how to play with Baker, because how do we judge Baker? Do we judge it on the team success Marcellus talked about, the 23 and 22 record. So that's certainly not good enough to be in that $40 million per year category as a quarterback. Do we do it on individual success? He doesn't have any Pro Bowls. He ranked 30th in completion percentage. We talked about the names that he's associated with, the Sam Darnolds and those guys. We can't do that. But better yet, the biggest deciding factor in who wins or loses games is turnovers. Baker Mayfield has 44 interceptions over the past 3 years.
Ooh.
Jameis Winston and Phillip Rivers are tied with Baker Mayfield for the most. And so if we're about to write a big check, I'm trying to figure out why we would issue the big check to Baker, because it's not the team success, it's not the individual success. What are we doing? I think the best way to do is to take this on a prove-it deal. And if Baker Mayfield balls out, the leverage goes his way. From the Browns standpoint, hey, let's make him earn that big check before we just hand it to him.
But Bucky, Sal, fellas, guys.
No.
If you're about to write a big check, if you're about to write a big check, if you're about to commit to something, to someone, you got to ask yourself, what are your options? See, Sal, if you desire to be single and in them streets like you previously did, then you don't have to ask yourself, what are your options? But if you are ever going to commit and you desire to commit like the Browns do to a long-term quarterback, you got to ask yourself, what are your options? And as I look at it, unless I'm mistaken, Baker Mayfield has given the Browns a euphoria they haven't seen in 26 years. Browns hadn't won a playoff game since 1994. Browns hadn't won 11 games since 2002. Brown hadn't won 10 games since 2007. So Baker has given the Browns a euphoria, a high, a jubilee that they haven't experienced in eons. So if you're talking about long-term commitment, you can't compare yourself to everyone else. I cannot compare myself to this other man who may have a plethora of more options than I do. I have to look myself in the mirror like I do every day after I get dressed, and I have to say, okay, Acho, what are your options? Because as I look at it, Baker Mayfield is the best option that the Browns have had in 26 years. So the Browns shouldn't doubt to commit to Baker Mayfield in a fifth term or the long term, because he's their best option.
Man, look, best option, that sounds cute. It's just really like he's too damn cheap to pass up. And this is the whole sociology of selling things. I took this course at Columbia University, top 3 in the world, I say. And it talked about the sociology of selling. It was a good class. It talked about when you walk into the grocery store, any convenience store, like all the items are placed in the exact place because how it plays on your mind. And this is one item that's going to play on your mind right here. Half off, Baker Mayfield, because you're right. $40 million Dak? Yeah, he's about less than half of Dak in terms of performance and less than half in Dak in terms of compensation at $18 million. But here's it. Baker Mayfield sitting there on that discount rack, $18 million, half off. And it makes you want to buy something you didn't even want to in the first place because you're like, I'm getting a deal, half off. How about full off? Here's your options, full off. He ain't good enough. Keep your money. Walk away. Now, in the NFL, because of a hard cap, we got to take half-off deals. But don't confuse it. I ain't booing up. I ain't marrying this half-off deal unless that half-off deal turns into full performance. And last time I checked, being 30th in the NFL in completion percentage is more half-off than full performance. Last time I checked, when Drew Lock is averaging more passing yards a game than you, Baker Mayfield, chill out, big dog. When we know Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they make this offense work. When we know we like the coach more than we like the quarterback right now, all those things add up to an offense that was 4th in passing attempts. You know why? Because